It was supposed to be just one night. Rachel had never driven a cab before, but when her brother Liam injured his wrist and couldn't take his shift, she volunteered without thinking. They were already 3 months behind on rent, and Liam had always looked out for her. It was her turn to return the favor. This isn't permanent, she told herself, gripping the steering wheel of Liam's beat-up yellow taxi. The seat was warm, the air smelled like coffee and pine air freshener, and the radio played a soft, jazzy hum that filled the silence. Midnight shimmered over the quiet streets of Toronto, and Rachel waited for her first fare. The call came in at 12:08 a.m. Pickup, Queen and Sherbourne. As she pulled up to the corner, she saw him, an older man, probably late 70s, wearing a faded brown coat 2 sizes too big, and clutching a small duffel bag to his chest. His hands trembled slightly as he opened the back door. "Hospital, please," he said, his voice low and raspy. Rachel nodded and started driving. They sat in silence for a few minutes before she caught him glancing at her in the rearview mirror. His eyes were kind, but tired. Very tired. "Rough night?" she asked, trying to make conversation. He smiled faintly. "You could say that. I just buried my wife this afternoon." Her breath caught in her throat. She hadn't expected that. "I'm so sorry," she said softly. He nodded, as if accepting the words but not really hearing them. 62 years, he whispered. And just like that. "I'm alone." Rachel didn't know what to say. She thought about her own mother, who'd passed when Rachel was only 16. Grief, she knew, didn't care about timing. Or age. "I'm headed to the hospital to sleep," the man added. "The shelter's full, and, well, I used to work maintenance at St. Michael's. They don't mind me curling up in the staff lounge." Rachel blinked. "You sleep there?" He gave a small chuckle. "Better than the sidewalk. And warmer." Something shifted in her chest. She didn't know this man. He wasn't family. But suddenly, none of that seemed to matter. "Do you have anywhere else to go?" she asked. "No," he said plainly. She was all I had. No kids. No cousins. Just us two and this city. Rachel kept driving, but her mind was racing. When they arrived, he reached for his wallet, hands shaking. "I can pay." "No, you can't," Rachel said gently. "This one's on me." He looked stunned. "Why?" "I don't know," she replied. "Maybe because I'd hope someone would do the same for my brother if he were in your shoes." Tears welled up in the man's eyes, but he blinked them away. "Thank you," he said, almost in a whisper. Then, just before stepping out, he turned back and handed her a crumpled piece of paper. "My wife loved poems," he said. "This was her favorite. Maybe it'll mean something to you, too." Rachel took the note. He disappeared through the hospital doors. Back in the taxi, under the dull orange glow of a streetlight, she unfolded the paper. It read, "In the smallest acts of grace, we find the strength to face the days. A stranger's hand, a word, a smile, can carry us another mile." Rachel sat there for a long time, rereading the poem again and again. That night, she didn't take another fare. Instead, she drove back home, tears streaming freely down her face, her heart full in a way it hadn't been for years. The next morning, she returned to the hospital with coffee, muffins, and a question: would he like to stay with them, just for a while? He did. Rachel never drove a cab again. But she did gain a housemate, a friend, and an unexpected grandfather. Liam even started calling him Pops. One night over dinner, the old man looked around their small apartment, smiled, and said, "I thought my story had ended. Turns out, I was just starting a new chapter. Sometimes, all it takes is one night, one ride, one decision. And a little kindness, to change everything." And sometimes, a passenger isn't just someone you drop off. Sometimes, they become your family.